Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and the new Battleworld is really cool. It's only one day, so it's pretty fresh and it keeps changing, but I can't compete in the Tier 1 Battleworld, obviously because, well, not obviously, but because I don't have enough Tier 1 characters. I know, first world mega whale problems, but on top of talking to some people who are playing in the Tier 1 Battleworld and actually having a lot of success, I had like an interesting time talking to them and listening to what teams they were putting together and what kind of combinations they were going for. So then I thought to myself, what if I could turn back the clock, or if I had some sort of a new account that wasn't necessarily new, but it had basically every character unlocked at Tier 1, maxed out, but not Tier 2, what team would I put together? Now keep in mind, for these Tier 1 teams, it automatically excludes all native Tier 2 characters. So all the Epic Quest characters, all the Black Order, Thanos, Silver Surfer, they're all completely removed, and then it just leaves everyone else. But the really big thing, the most important thing, well, the two most important things to keep in mind for what makes a Tier 1 character strong, besides their skills, is their passive, their 4-star passive, and the Tier 2 passive that they would be losing. So, for example, Wasp is one of the best characters in the game for PvP still, and she's especially good in Battleworld because her Tier 2 passive applies to the whole team, and it gives the whole team that debuff when you get hit, when you get debuffed. It gives you debuff removal, and she also gives, with this new uniform, 10% increased HP to all allies. So it's really, really good. But that's at Tier 2. A Tier 1 Wasp with this uniform does give you the 10% HP, which is nice, but she only has this paralyzing sting, which is her own sting. It's not for all allies, and she doesn't have Winsome Wasp. So Wasp actually becomes a very bad Tier 1 character for Battleworld. So I wanted to basically theory craft 3 teams. These would be like the ultimate Tier 1 Battleworld teams. And possibly in the future, if Netmarble allows us to play with sort of stock characters rather than our characters like we do sort of in World Event, but basically if they were to gear down my Tier 2 characters, who would I bring into this Battleworld? So the first team is the team that I honestly think might be the best for the overall best team for this Battleworld, and it's basically an all universal team, and I think this team would be the best because it not only combines extremely strong characters with extremely strong passives and skills, but it also combines the fact that they don't have any weaknesses because there's no type advantage to take into consideration. You don't have the rock, paper, scissors going on with combat blast and speed. So I don't necessarily want to talk about the order of the characters, although for Battleworld 5-on-5 it is important to consider the order, like who goes first, who goes second, etc. I'm just going to talk about all 5 of the characters briefly. So you guys already know the ultimates. Nova especially is one of the best Tier 1 characters in the game. Insane skills. His passive is just whatever. His Tier 2 passive is good, but he's not going to get it because he's Tier 1, but it's really all about the skills. It's crazy. Like iframe on 1, insane damage and effects, and guard break immunity penetration on 2, more damage and more buffs for himself on 3, crazy buff for invincibility on 5, and then, you know, 4 has long iframe. So really, really strong character. I don't really like Anti-Man as a Tier 1, but I do also really like Blue Marvel. And while Blue Marvel does have nice buffs to his own stats with some of his skills, it's really invulnerable body. 70% damage reduction at Tier 1. Tier 1 characters don't hit that hard compared to Tier 2 characters. So Blue Marvel is going to be really hard to kill in this Battleworld because he gets this 70% reduction at Tier 1. He doesn't get this stuff, so he doesn't get the penetration, but I still think he would be very, very good. Another universal I think would be really good for this team, they're actually all right next to each other, so I'm going to talk about them one at a time. Morgan Le Fay. Morgan Le Fay, again, like Nova, just really strong abilities. She's got mind control and summons. She's got all defense down, stacking. She's got self buffs, immunity, iframes. Oh, and by the way, at Tier 1, she's the only character that's not native Tier 2 who revives. Because you can't use Corvus, you can't use Jean, you can't use Silver Surfer, you can't use Adam Warlock. You could use Groot, but Groot's terrible. So yeah, she revives. That is absolutely outstanding. So really, really good character. I definitely think that even though she has low damage, she brings a lot of other abilities to the game, especially for a Tier 1 Battleworld. The next one would be Sentinel. The 4th character on my team would be Sentinel. Again, his Tier 2 passive is nice, but it's really all about his 4-star passive, which gives him a lot of buffs and it gives him a huge advantage against any mutants if the enemy team has mutants. And then he's got self-healing. He's got, of course, the clones, and the clones will deal full damage as if they were tier 2s, so that's really, really good. And he's got penetration. So really strong character, and he's a villain. And then finally, Victorious. I kind of want to put Victorious on all 3 of my teams, but I wanted to make each team unique. So if I was building a universal tier 1 Battleworld team, Victorious would be my last pick because well, on top of the 4-star passive, which gives everyone on the team 30% HP, that's pretty damn good. The other really good thing about Victorious is she has low cooldown. She's got 6-second cooldown on her second skill, and that is her best skill with the damage and the iframe and the all defense down. And for Battleworld specifically, you get less skill cooldown from your abilities because I believe it doesn't apply. Your skill cooldown from your alliance, the 14% doesn't apply. So unless you're 14% overcapped, you'll notice that all your characters in Battleworld have longer cooldowns for their skills. I think that's still the case. It was the case way back in the day when I used to play Battleworld. I think there's so many. It does say timeline battle, world boss. There's so much text here. Shadowland, King of the Hill. No, it does. Yeah, see, it doesn't apply to world. It doesn't apply to Battleworld unless I'm blind. Yeah. So because it doesn't apply to Battleworld, there's so much text there, guys. It's so badly written. Because it doesn't apply to Battleworld, you're going to be at 30 or 40, 36% roughly if you're maxed out, if you're capped out. So because of that, choosing characters with low skill cooldowns is a really good idea. And this can give you some ideas for those of you who still have tier 1 characters for Battleworld. And it can also work for tier 2s. You just have to take what I'm saying in addition to tier 2 passives, which does open up more avenues for other characters. The second team I wanted to put together for this all tier 1 Battleworld is sort of heal team. So I think this is a really cool thematic team. We're going to start off with one of the sort of crucial set pieces of this team, and it's Weapon Hex. Weapon Hex with her 4-star passive, it's so strong. Witchcraft gives her the heal, and it gives that heal bubble, that little red sort of orb to all allies, and so that will give you healing for basically the entire team. And then she has strong skills. She's got mind control, all defense down, she's got immunity, really, really good. And then you just start to combo Weapon Hex with other characters. So comboing Weapon Hex with another blast healer in the form of a tier 1 rescue would be really nice, because at tier 1 she has that heal 3% every second, but under 99%, so she can really stay alive for a long time when you combo this heal with Weapon Hex's heal. You combo Rescue and Weapon Hex's heal with X23's heal, and you'll also get the team up, I believe, for Weapon Hex and X23. X23's 4-star passive, kind of like a mini Wolverine. She also gets healing, so now you have all 3 of those characters who can heal naturally. Well, 2 of them can heal natively. Well, no, 3 of them can heal natively, and then Weapon Hex's healing is helping them out. Then you bring along a type changer who can also heal in Sabretooth, so now you have an additional healing factor, and you've got some additional damage there. You can take care of speed types, and then we round out this team with Angel. Now, Angel or Archangel at tier 1 is not going to be as strong because his passive won't be 30%, it'll only be 15%, but that is 15% extra recovery rate, stacking all of those heals, on top of the fact that he has his own heal that gives him 17% recovery, and because he has a uniform, you can bump up his skills or his stats to make him even tankier. So I think this is a really cool kind of like heal synergy team that takes advantage of a bunch of different 4-star passives to actually work. The last team I want to field for this tier 1 Battleworld, if I could you know, turn back the time and make my characters tier 1 again, is basically a debuff team. So this is taking advantage of the fact that there are no debuffs. Individual characters like Nick Fury and Captain America still have their own cleanse to get rid of debuffs, but you don't have Wasp, and you can't use leaderships in Battleworld, so there's no native natural debuff except for immunities that you have on your abilities, like the Spiders have web immunity, Daredevil has blind immunity, or if you have an obelisk with an immunity, like immunity to guard break, immunity to web, immunity to movement speed, etc. So this team would start off with Spider-Man 2099 with his uniform. I think he's one of the strongest tier 1 characters in the game. Lila, or Accelerated Decoy, still works at tier 1, although it's not as strong, but man, his 5th skill hits super hard, huge AoE, moves around. He suffers from long cooldown, so that is a weakness of the character, but the webbing is too much to pass up, on top of the fact that as a spider, he's he's going to be immune to webbing, so you can counter other teams that employ this tactic. Comboing Spider-Man 2099, I would also bring along Spider-Man, probably Stealth Suit at tier 1. It's hard to think of people who still have a tier 1 Spider-Man, let's be really honest. But again, if they were going to do a world event but allow you to only fight tier 1s versus tier 1s, or let's say there was a new type of timeline battle where it would like level your characters and you could do like tier 1 only and you could enter into that arena, yeah, I would probably bring along Spider-Man. The webbing is absolutely disgusting and it completely shuts down teams, and the short webbing from 2099 comboed with the long webbing from Spider-Man from the OG, RIP MCU, is a really nice combo. I would also combo up the two of them with Ghost. Ghost is probably the only character on this list of characters who's not really that good at tier 2. So keep that in mind. I mean, she has her niche uses, but she's not nearly as good as the rest of these. But holy crap. On top of having low cooldowns for the majority of her skills, everything's basically like 10 seconds or less except for these two, which is good for Battleworld. She has so many debuffs. All defense down, shock. You've got more all defense down, more shock. You've got crazy debuffs on intel gathering, her 4th skill, and you have that circle that you can follow people around and they'll be feared like Mantis. And you have Ghost Protocol, which does more damage, more buffs, fear, shock damage, etc. It's wild. If you take Ghost into Shadowland, you try her out on a stage, you'll see you can stack like 8 or 9 debuffs on one enemy. So just imagine Ghost running around Battleworld doing that in that small arena with that huge intel gathering, you know, sort of circle or kind of aura around her, just completely shutting teams down. And then for the last two characters, I thought to just kind of tank up and bring along characters that can, you know, do more debuff or just kind of generally exist. So I did want to put Emma Frost on this team. Emma Frost is basically here because she's pretty tanky for a tier 1, especially if you give her the uniform. Illusion Stab buffs up her damage reduction to -85, and it gives you that summon. So you can basically stall while your other character does a bunch of debuff, gets the webbing off, etc., sets you up for victory. And then last but not least, Enchantress. Not as strong at tier 1 because her Maiden's Farewell Charm only has a 70% chance. It's not a 100% chance, but Enchantress is good to sprinkle in on this team because if you fight a team against of spiders, like if you go spiders versus spiders, your 2099 and your Spider-Man won't have that extra value of webbing because, of course, the spiders are immune to webbing. So you have to bring along other characters like Enchantress or like Luna Snow or like Ghost who have other forms of mind control, other forms of crowd control that can take advantage of the fact that those characters won't be able to protect themselves from everything. So with that being said, I know it's a bit of a weird video to talk about a bunch of characters that I have at tier 2, but imagine them as tier 1s and sort of theory craft the best team. I obviously don't have any you know, actual gameplay to show you because I can't go into this battle world, but I think it's also a really nice pitch to Netmarble. Like, I think World Event shows that people like that sort of stuff, playing with set characters, but if we could turn back the clock and play with them possibly at tier 1, I think that would be really cool. Like if there was, even for a short time, you know, like a limited timeline battle where for the next week you can choose to enter in the regular timeline battle with your regular teams and your regular builds, and you can also enter into a tier 1 only battle world where you can fight against other players the same way that timeline battle works now, except you can only use tier 1 versions of your characters. It negates all the bullshit of tier 3s and native tier 2s like Jean Grey and all this toxic garbage, guard break immunity interruption, and it actually revitalizes a lot of characters. Like, you know, you wouldn't be using Ghost right now if you don't care about ABX, you don't have Korath or Electro. There's a lot of these characters that I don't even use anymore, like X23, but I would definitely put together that healing team if I had the chance in a tier 1 battle world. So this kind of stuff honestly makes me really love the game, going back, looking at characters in different ways and kind of seeing different perspectives and the value based on that. Hit me up in the comments, let me know what you think of the theory crafted tier 1 battle world teams and what team you think is the best overall. Can you beat my universal team or heal team or web team / debuff team? Subscribe if you enjoy the content, you want to support me, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you later today. Take care.